Organized.
All right, I'd like to call our regular board meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
I couldn't
justice.
find One Direction in your Apple Music library. You can ask me to play a radio station or ask for your music on a different app. Sorry about that.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Marsh?
Here.
Trustee Hudson?
Here.
Trustee Maravka? Here. Trustee Richards is absent. Trustee Sandberg?
Here.
Trustee Sluse is absent. Trustee Sturba?
Here. All right, public comment. If none, we'll move on to good news. We're presenting certificates of achievement for years of service to the Village of Peatone to Sergeant John Popek and Officer Robert Stetson. So if you guys would come on up here. We'll get you one. Officer Stetson for 5 years of service. Congratulations. Thank you. And Sergeant Popek, 25 years of service. All right. Thank you, guys. Awesome. Thanks, sir. Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, we've got the minutes of the February 10th regular village board meeting and also the payroll and accounts payable. Payroll in the, for the pay period ending February 15th, 2025, the amount of $74,602.70. And for the period ending 2/21/25, the general fund $39,163.23, the motor fuel tax fund $4,306.46, capital improvement fund $6,359.25, and the business development district fund $6,982 for a grand total of $56,810.94. Any items that the trustees want to pull out of the consent agenda? Not. Entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Moved by trustee Hudson, second by trustee Sturba.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Maravka? Yes. Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes. All right, going on to staff committee reports. We recently had a building committee. I'd like to give that report.
Yeah, the building committee met on February 18th at 4 o'clock, and actually 2 of the items are on the agenda. We discussed the building department training proposal with B&F Construction. Basically, this is a training for our staff so that everybody is more up to date with the building process. And the committee recommended that we do this. We think that it'll be good. Get everybody up to speed and a little more knowledgeable and make things work just a little bit smoother. Also, we discussed a proposal from B&F to do an update to the 2021 International Code, and this is actually something that's required. So the building committee actually recommended that we go ahead and do that. And those are actually on the agenda, items D and E to be voted on tonight. That's it.
All right, thank you. Angie, you got anything from Aqua?
I don't, I wasn't able to make the last meeting, so I wanted to make sure there were no questions or anything for this meeting.
Anybody have anything? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Chief, anything to add to your report?
No, I have nothing else. Trustee needs something or has some questions on my report.
Okay. Bob?
Conrad Street bid opening is this Thursday at 10 a.m. So just so you trustees know for that project. NPL is still doing some gas main work, minor work with that, so that shouldn't be an issue moving forward.
And then Aqua's gotta do some stuff.
Aqua's gotta do some stuff, and then, we'll get that project rolling.
All right. When's branch pickup start?
April 7th.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Administrator, anything?
I have a written report, but I just wanted to remind folks a few things. One is, it's that time of year for the economic interest statements, so for all the elected officials, department heads, and some other folks, those are due May 1st. If you have any questions or, concerns, Stacy and I are available to help with that. We are gonna be posting for a public works position. We have an employee who gave a notice, so we're gonna be posting that very soon. And I did talk to Ann, one of our attorneys, on the Schrader property, and that is progressing, so hopefully in the near future, we will have an agreement at some point for the board to look at. But this is with the owner, working towards demolition and what happens with that site afterwards, so more to come on that. And just a lot of, in my report I mentioned, there's a lot of meetings going on about economic development in the area. Along 57, there's a lot of focus with the state and some of the other regional groups, so I think there's a lot of positives coming out of that, so hopefully we'll have good news on other opportunities for our community and nearby, so that's it for now.
Okay, great. My comments, I included a report at your place today. One thing I wanted to add is just, we do have an AOC committee meeting tomorrow, so, all the trustees are, invited to participate in that, even if you're not on the committee. We will be discussing the proposed budget. I wanted to compliment the department heads and our treasurer for putting together what I think is a pretty sound document, but we want to present that to the board, which we start with the AOC committee. Hopefully get some input from you guys, and we'll be moving on to approve that at our meetings in March.
That meeting tomorrow is at 5 o'clock.
Yep. All right, there is no old business. Moving on to new business, this would be resolution 25-R-03. Approve a resolution authorizing intergovernmental agreement for participation in the Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. Give a summary of that.
There's quite a bit of information in your packet. I know sometimes it's overwhelming, but I give it to you just in case you want to read more. This is a pretty standard document, it's an update, and so maybe I'll let Bob talk, because he's been more leading this effort, so.
So IPWMAN is the mutual aid network through the state of Illinois for public works, all public works communities. We've been part of it for quite a few years now. It's $100 a year, goes by population. If you have a tornado event, as we all know, this brings in resources from different communities for help. So for all these years, when IPWMAN was started, there never really was an agreement. It was kind of like you call, we'll come. So now this has been put into place to make sure we all have that agreement. So that's pretty much what it is.
So basically, we agree to go help others in need, and they agree to come help us.
Yep.
And there's no, we don't charge each other
Right.
or that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So like Coal City, I was there for 4 days when they had the tornado.
Yep.
So.
Good. That's great. Any questions from the trustees?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by trustee Marevka, seconded by trustee Sturba.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Maravka?
Yes.
Trustee Sanford?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yeah. All right, item D, approve authorization of expenditure for building department training for village staff in the amount of $5,000. As trustee Hudson said, this was discussed at the recent building committee meeting. Anything else to add, or any other questions from the board?
I don't think so. I mean, we talked about, you know, a couple other people maybe attending. You know, depends on how that works out, but we'll discuss that later when you get it set up.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Moved by trustee Sturba, second by trustee Maravka.
Trustee Maravka?
Yes.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Item E, approve resolution authorizing the execution of a professional service agreement with B&F for 2021 International Code Update. As trustee Hudson said, this is, actually the state passed a law that we need to be on a more recent set of codes than we are. I believe now we're, what, 2015? And so we want to move up to the 2021 code. And, you know, people ask, well, why don't you go to the 2025 codes? Well, they usually recommend that you be a couple years behind, because there's usually some flaws in the code.
Work out the bugs.
Work out the bugs, exactly. So you don't want to be on the cutting edge of that. So, B&F will help us update that. We'll work through the building committee on, you know, just making sure that there's nothing in there that the village doesn't agree with, and kind of hopefully get this going, because I think the deadline to get this approved is July 1st, correct? So,
Yeah, the building committee's asking to have a meeting with them if possible, to kind of kick it off. They say it's a 3-month process. I don't know about that, but sometimes municipalities have local codes, and so we kind of want to visit our code and discuss some of the things that, you know, jump out at them that they're going to be changing, and see if maybe there's some local things that we want to keep in there. And then, you know, so we're going to invite them to a building committee meeting if that's possible when you set it up, and then they can take it from there.
and this wasn't on the agenda, but it was 5,000 was the cost,
Right, there's
correct?
a resolution that spells that out, but it's $5,000, yes.
Okay.
And the agreement for 5,000 includes one presentation, so that would probably be the building committee, but that's where we can really get into any concerns or questions. And the staff, I've done this once before, they will come with some questions for us to say, what do you wanna do with this, what do you wanna do with that? But it's obviously a good time for us to ask questions of them too, just because you don't wanna have a lot of I mean, if you need it, you need it, but ideally, this could be a streamlined process where it's just, they come loaded with the standard questions, and the committee's gonna make the recommendation to the full board, I think, to just move forward with those amendments or changes, so.
Yeah, it's just something that would be very difficult for us to do in-house. They do it all the time, they're familiar with it. We just wanna make sure that we review what we have and make sure that it, you know, it works well with what they're gonna adopt.
Okay, this will be resolution 25-R-04. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Moved by trustee Maravka, second by trustee Sandberg.
Trustee Sandberg?
Yes.
Trustee Sturba?
Yes.
Trustee Hudson?
Yes.
Trustee Maravka?
Yes.
All right, questions of the press? Any other correspondence from the board or questions? Great, if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Moved by trustee Maravka, second by trustee Sturba. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, have a great evening.